welcome to the second episode of the Seller's Lounge. I'm Alexis.
And I'm John.
And we are your favorite agents from SmartSeller. Okay, so in this episode, we're going to focus a bit more on how to choose the right agent. So is there really the one? And is there magic to selling property? So I thought that we could start this episode off by introducing a bit about ourselves and why we joined SmartSeller.
Okay.
Mr. John first.
Ladies first.
Okay, fine. So basically for me, I actually was in PropNext for about a year. And honestly, I was like a COVID property agent. That means like during COVID, there was nothing much to do. You're stuck at home. So I took the course.
So you became an agent for fun? Because you were bored?
Kinda, you know.
Some of us joined to make a living, okay?
But yeah, I think, I was kind of in it for fun, just take it and then see where things goes. It doesn't hurt to get like a license. And back then, I think the government was, I'm not sure about now, but you can claim Skills Future.
Oh yeah, that's what I did also.
Yeah, so I didn't pay anything. Oops, I didn't pay anything for the course at all. And that's why I became.
Plus, it's a one-off license lah. So compared to like I think the financial industry, like you gotta keep upgrading. Okay,
really?
not that we don't upgrade, but then like the qualifications, to keep your license. I think for the financial industry, like you have every once in a while there's an exam you have to take in order to
I did not
upskill.
know that.
Yeah, so for property, like it's just one license for a lifetime as long as we keep renewing. So
Okay.
yeah, guess no harm in that.
Oh, but for property, you have to take some courses every year to claim at least six CPD. Yeah, so not exams, but just like basic like refresher courses. Yeah.
I think we digressing already.
But anyway,
we're not trying to convince you to become agents. Talking about why we joined
another
SmartSeller.
episode.
Okay.
Yeah, but okay. So I was from PropNext, and then back then because it was kind of for fun, right? So I didn't really do much research on the team that I was going to join. So I just joined a recruiter who was at the exam hall recruiting people, and I felt that the team, while it was nice and they were friendly, because everyone is kind of like a solo agent in the property industry, so they didn't really care about younger agents. They were just doing their things, and I just didn't feel that it was a team effort lah. So when SmartSeller came to recruit us, I felt that firstly everyone is young, everyone is fun, and then and I just felt that I felt that I clicked with the people here more, and I also really believe in the fixed fee model. Because honestly, that was the first time I heard about fixed fees. Before that, I honestly didn't know there was a thing called fixed fees. Everyone was just charging 2% lah. So I guess that's the main reason why I joined. And I do enjoy being in startups. My previous jobs were all in startups actually. So I feel that there's more free play, more things, more chance to experiment with things. Yeah, so that's basically why I'm in SmartSeller.
Okay.
What about you?
What about me? For me, I was with ERA for 2 years. I think this is my third year as an agent. So I was in ERA for 2 years. I actually got to know my director through my wife. She followed his younger sister on Instagram ever since they were in JC together. And then I think similar to you, when I was considering the real estate industry, I didn't know anyone other than, the faces that I see on Instagram, which were, those property agents that were posting about their success and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I had a great time in ERA lah. I bonded with my team. We had a lot of activities.
Different experience.
So different experiences over here. Yeah, but for me, I think similar to you, I believed in the business model when, I came down for SmartSeller's first coffee session, and slowly and surely they ate away at me. Wait, no, not that.
Basically, we just really believed in a fixed fee model lah.
So as I was saying, I came down for the coffee session. They proposed this business model of bringing fixed fees to customers. Then I guess it's something that I really resonated with. But as a 2% agent, I couldn't commit to providing that kind of fixed fee model because I didn't have a consistent stream of income. It didn't have a consistent stream of clientele, so it was hard for me to provide that fixed fee model in my services lah.
Okay, that's
yeah,
true.
so with corporate backing over here at SmartSeller, I'm able to provide that for my clients and help them save money on agent fees. So that's something that I looked forward to lah. Yeah.
Now you guys know. Okay, so I guess some people who are maybe contemplating to sell their house, if they heard about us, what would be the reason that they come to us versus big agencies that we were from?
Bigger agencies that we work from. I guess our main pulling factor would be the fixed fee model. I've had some people question about our credibility, because we are not ERA, we are not PropNext, we
Yeah,
are
I get that
not
too.
one of the key players in the market. So yeah, but if it's any assurance, the services that we provide is exactly the same as any other 2% agent out there, be it whatever estate agency that they come from lah. Yeah.
And actually, I think it's not always about the amount of money, because I do have some clients who say that, oh, it doesn't matter, I can pay you 2% as well. Yeah, I think it boils down to them liking you and them having the trust in you. Or maybe some of my clients actually have bad experiences with agents in the 2% industry, and that's why they came to us. So I guess there's many factors. We are also not really competing on price, because honestly, we're not the cheapest fixed fee agency out there. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's just a mixture of price, mixture of trustworthiness, mixture of whether you like the person or not lah. I guess some people also might wonder, is there a magic to selling? Like some secret sauce, secret formula?
Secret sauce.
Yeah, secret sauce. Yeah.
Okay, there are 8 to 10 factors which determine how fast a property, or how fast and how successful a property gets sold. Luck is a huge factor.
Actually, yes.
The marketing agent is another factor. The competency of the marketing agent throughout negotiations or handling inquiries. On top of that, I think another huge factor would be the pricing strategy also. Some sellers, they want to deviate from the current valuation of the property in order to fetch that premium. I mean, everybody wants to sell as high as possible.
And then buyers want to buy as low as possible.
Yeah, correct. But as sellers, you have to understand that buyers have the same access to the data that we show you when we come down for the presentation. Yeah. So I mean, if there's nothing too special about your property, like, okay, what constitutes special would be maybe something like a huge and hefty renovation, like maybe 80K renovation that you just did last year. So now you want to add on that premium onto your property's valuation, then I think that's reasonable, because firstly, the buyer doesn't have to go through the hassle of waiting for the renovations to be done. They can move in straight away. It's quick and it's efficient. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons that you can ask for an above valuation kind of price. But if let's say, touch wood, your property very run down, nothing special about it, but at the same time, you want to sell at 50K COV, then we're going to have to spend a longer period of time on the market with a chance that we probably won't even get an offer within that range lah. Yeah, so that's one of the huge factors also. I think another factor is viewing accessibility. Yeah, so under our Saver Max package, we send buyers to your doorstep. If you are not home most of the time and, we find it difficult to schedule a convenient timing to send the buyers down to your doorstep, then that may be an issue, because lesser viewings ultimately translates to lesser offers.
That's true. So in my experience, I have like a client who has a tenanted unit. There were actually a few requests to view, but the tenant was like, oh, I'm overseas. And these viewers didn't actually come back at all. So yeah, it does affect like your viewing availability. Sometimes people maybe don't want to view on weekends. They want to view on weekday nights or weekday like lunchtime. And if you're not available, then they might not be very inclined to see your unit.
Yeah, plus some buyers, they have very time sensitive timelines.
Oh, that's
like
true.
Say for example, they sold their property already,
Yeah.
so they have a specific time frame where they need to buy another property. Yeah, so then they try to squeeze everything into that time frame, and then like if they cannot view a unit within the next 3 days, then they can't consider it already. Yeah, so viewing accessibility.
But I guess the point that I also want to touch on is the strength that we have is that we are quite savvy on social media. So I think most of us, me, John, other smart seller agents, we have some like viral videos and stuff. So I think social media is actually the way to go moving forward. Like to get any potential viewing buyers. I do have a lot of inquiries from my videos posted online.
Like it's an additional platform lah, that I feel in the past, like before the whole digitalization era came about, like people solely relied on property listing platforms. Yeah, but now we have Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
Yeah, and I think, so that's a plus point about SmartSeller actually, that we are strong on that front. But anyway, for other, we can touch more about this, I guess, in another episode if you guys like. But yeah, you can see whatever that's on
I'm
here.
still trying to recall what the other factors are.
Time for John to go for more CPD. Okay.
Okay, never mind, move on.
Okay, so I thought we could end off with some seller horror stories. John has not seen them yet, so I'd like to see his genuine reaction to them.
This. So I read it out.
No, I read it out. Don't look at it.
Okay, I don't
Yeah,
look at it.
okay. Then, okay. So this one is from Singapore actually. So this is the story. We had a negotiator for HDB, managed to save a few $1,000s off, and apparently the sellers were not happy. Then the seller agent came crying to them, like to the buyers, because the price is so low that the sellers actually cut his commission and asked them to compensate him a bit. So he's asking the buyer to pay him. So they kept putting it off until they went to get the paperwork done at HDB Hub and finally met the sellers. They actually asked the sellers about that, and apparently they didn't even cut his commission. So yeah.
Naughty.
Yeah. So what do you think of this kind of sellers, or have you came across similar?
I mean, it's not really the
stories?
seller, right? It's the seller's agent,
Seller
right?
agent, yeah, seller agent.
Okay. From what I know, according to CA Code of Ethics and Professional Client Care, you cannot collect commission from both buyer and seller because there's a conflict of interest there.
Yeah.
It's called dual representation because you're supposed to have one client's best interest at heart. If the seller wants to sell high and then the buyer wants to buy low, and then you collect commission from both sides, then how do you justify having each client's interest at heart? I think what this seller agent was trying to do is to like weave some story and then like get some extra ang pao from the buyer.
I think he was happy. No, he was unhappy at the fact that, example, it was listed at this price because he's commission based. So if they sell it lower, then he'll get less commission. So he's not happy that he's getting lower commissions.
Yeah, but it's a small percentage only.
Yeah, like a few $1,000.
Like if it's 500k, 2%, that's like 10k. If
maybe he get 8K, I don't know.
they negotiate to 498, 2%, that's... Oh my god, I suck at math. 492%. Forget it. But it's just a few $100s lah. It's not in the thousands and thousands if it's just a slight negotiation, 2%. Yeah.
Never mind. Okay, moving on to our... so I have 3 stories. So this is the second story. This one is
Also, I don't have to look at my iPad anymore.
No, don't have.
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
This one is the second story, not in Singapore, but actually I have a similar experience to this. Okay, so basically this is the second story. We had our old house on the market and the sale contract with that realtor was 6 months, and he had not brought a single person to visit the home the entire 6 months. We informed his office that we would not be renewing our contract and would take the home off the market. The night that the contract expired, the person is partially dressed, and then her 1.5-year-old,
Like, so bottom half naked or what?
I'm not sure, but basically
What does partially dressed mean?
I do not know. Wait, her 1.5-year-old son or something vomited over her. That's why she was like very partially dressed and changing and stuff.
Also like half formal, half informal. Shirtless.
Yeah. So she had the front door open, and he walks in with a young couple. So they found her shirtless and covered in vomit, and he did not knock. And the contract was over. So she screamed. She told the young couple what a terrible realtor he was. One open house, no marketing, did not listen to her. The contract had expired. He was not supposed to come after 8 p.m. Was to call, no call, blah, blah, blah. Basically, she was just screaming in their face, and it was not a very nice sight. Yeah, so what do you think about
Wait, is this in Singapore?
No. This is overseas.
It sounds overseas because
Yeah,
call
yeah.
office. Like in Singapore, nobody says
that's
like
true.
I call office.
Yeah. So what do you think about this story of the realtor?
So she brought the buyer down after the contract expired.
Yeah, so for 6 months, the agent didn't do anything at all. The moment they cancel it, then he brought one person down. And then, of course, it was a bad experience.
Maybe she took the listing for granted. I mean, we never really know the full story. You know, maybe the property's valuation is like 2 million, but then the seller wanted her to sell it at 6 million, for example.
That's true.
Then so maybe from the get-go, she already knew that this property, you know, this seller is very stubborn, or this seller, you know, isn't going to budge, you know, so I shouldn't be investing, you know, the marketing costs into pushing this unit out onto the market. So she kind of like just let it stew.
That's true.
Then maybe when the exclusive expired, she got a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Or like maybe that specific month, you know, business wasn't good. So she wanted to try one last push, you know, bringing a buyer down at the last minute before she gets fired.
She was already fired. But actually, one thing that I feel some property agents do is they just get a listing to get leads. So they don't really care about selling your property, and then just get it to get some eyeballs, and then they just divert the buyer to somewhere else. Yeah. So that is something that I think some people do, which we don't, and that's something we assure you we won't. And actually one of my clients had the experience, which is why they came to me. So they had a family friend actually that was supposed to market their unit for the last maybe 3 months and didn't bring any single viewer, didn't update them about anything. So they don't know what was going on. So the moment they told her that, hey, we're getting an exclusive with SmartSeller, then she suddenly just screenshot all her messages and then then send to them and say, hey, I'm actually marketing. There is a lead, there's a lead. Actually, there are no leads. All these people are super, super old, or like they weren't interested there. They just inquired for fun. So yeah, so that was my experience from my client.
I think communication is very important, like in a client to agent relationship. So that's something I think we at SmartSeller value a lot. That's why we have an owner chat room. The moment any client comes on board with us, we automatically create this chat room with the sellers, the listing managers, and the accounts managers. So every stage of the process of marketing and the sale, be it, you know, scheduling for viewings, or when offers come in, or when buyers have questions, everybody is kept in the loop.
And also, like, even though, so sometimes some properties do take longer time to sell, and even though there might not be any inquiries, we will still update the seller, like, hey, this is how your listing is doing, what might be wrong, what can we do to improve it, that kind of thing. So there won't be total silence. That means we won't disappear for an entire month. In fact, all our sellers get weekly updates from us, and I think I appreciate that. If I was a seller, I'd be quite happy with the service as well. Okay, a final horror story. This one is also not in Singapore.
Okay.
So, my realtor was a friend's brother. He was great through everything and was very patient with him because he shopped around for a year. I think, some of us had that experience also. But things started to fall apart at the end. He was having a baby, and his mom turned out to be a drug addict. So, he had some shit going on. Okay, well, that's not the point of the story. So, I think he managed to commit to a house. So, he wanted to go for the final walkthrough. But the sellers didn't want him to do it because his wife was pregnant, like the seller's wife was pregnant, and they didn't want to clean the house. That means they didn't want to clean the house for the walkthrough. Yeah. And the realtor that was serving the buyer was on the seller's side. And he was staying...
Wait, the realtor that was serving the buyer is the buyer's brother?
The buyer's friend's brother.
The buyer's friend's brother. Okay.
Am I a bad storyteller?
Or maybe I'm a bad story listener.
But basically, the agent was on their side and said, yeah, you don't need to go for a final walkthrough at all.
So basically the buyer's agent agreed with the sellers that a second viewing wasn't necessary because the seller's wife had a baby and they didn't want to tidy up the house.
So basically, even though he was representing the buyer, he was on the seller's side. And when they finally agreed to let him have the final walkthrough, he discovered that nothing they agreed upon was fixed. That means like a broken window, they didn't fix at all. The carbon monoxide detectors also didn't fix at all. And then basically, again, his agent that was representing him went to argue and say, but they're having a baby. You can't expect them to fix all these. Wow. So he was so angry. And okay, basically, that's the end of the story lah.
Did the deal go through?
It went through in the end.
Okay.
But what are your thoughts on
I think it's not right, firstly, for your agent to not have your best interests at heart. I mean, especially when you're purchasing a property, it's one of the biggest purchases in your life.
Item,
you should be allowed to see it more than once before you commit to it.
And most buyers do have like a final walkthrough anyway.
Like, because you need to know, like, you know, the temperature, morning and night, the noise levels, so many factors. You should be allowed to view it more than once lah. And as the agent serving the buyer, the agent should have negotiated for that. In fact, insisted on that. But I think maybe the agent prioritized closing the deal a lot more than serving the buyer's best interest at heart, because he knew that the sellers were in no capacity or didn't intend to fix all the stuff that the buyers pointed out. So he wanted to just, you know, like chop karipok. No need to view lah, no need to view. Just buy lah, just buy.
That is a terrible agent.
Because ultimately it's a small issue, ma. I mean, a few $100s here and there to just fix all these small things. In the grand scheme of things, if you're paying a few million for a property, I think the agent just wanted to avoid the dispute altogether and just close the deal.
That's true. But I guess at SmartSeller, we don't do this. So I mean, on TikTok, I do have some inquiries where they ask like, will you push us to sell, let go at a low price, that kind of thing. And some clients actually reflect a similar experience, like their agents was on the buyer or on the tenant side. And so I guess I'd like to just maybe assure the audience or our future clients that we won't do that. We will always be on your side because we are representing you. And we will always do our best to keep your best interest. Yes, okay, so that is the end of our second episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, if you have any feedback or comments or questions, you can let us know. And do follow us on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram.
And YouTube, Instagram.
That's right. See you all on the next episode of the Seller's Lounge. Bye!
Bye!